Sweetie Pie, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. If this is the first video, kind of an odd video, welcome back, honestly. Welcome back to me. I have literally not filmed in, gosh, probably a month because of this little gaffer. If you didn't know, now you know. I was pregnant and now I have a baby and I'm about to go get him. So yeah, if you would like to meet my little bundle and hear my delivery story, then stay tuned. So it's so weird. Um, baby Andy. Hi, baby Andy. Hi. Yes. So, okay. Let's hope he cooperates. He is not overly cooperative, but he's my little ornery baby. Yeah, he's my little ornery baby. But maybe because of the lights and whatnot, he might actually just chill in my arms and smile at me. He's sticking his tongue out. Okay, so see, ornery. He can be quite ornery when he wants to be. So, it's been about a month and a couple weeks, or a month and a week, since I delivered Andy Michael Frederick Couling, and we acclimatized, like, in my opinion, slowly. It's different having, there we go. It's different having like a newborn compared to what he is now. It really does go by super fast. Those first couple weeks to a month are weird. Like, he's like a little, I don't know, like a little alien, and he doesn't have a lot of like abilities to communicate with you, so you kind of just are like going down the list of, okay, are you hungry? Have you been, have you been changed? Are you, are you fussy? Are you tired? Like, what's going on with you? And now, he's starting to develop skills to like let you know what is wrong with him. And even just like, same thing goes for like, I thought that, you're 35 years old. Well, I'm 32. You're 32 years old and you're going to be so much more well equipped. I don't think you're ever ready 100% for, holding that baby in your arms and, having to take care of its every need. Now, as I'm on this rant, Andy was only breastfed for about 2 weeks before I realized that I did not produce enough milk. He was so ravenous, so we switched to formula. We were doing formula and breast milk, and now we're just exclusively doing formula. I had him on the Good Start Plus for the first like month, and now for the last 2 weeks, I would say, I switched over to the Good Start. It's not gentle, it's Soothe. And he's still pretty constipated to the point where my doctor put him on lactulose, which I don't think you're supposed to take for a long time. It's been about 8 or 9 days now of me giving him the lactulose, and he, like, obviously he performs very well when he's on the lactulose, but I just went to not give it to him after 7 days, and he had such a fit. So I'm going to make a doctor's appointment again. I'm not really sure exactly what's going on. It's really uncommon for him to have like a milk allergy, but it's just like he's straining a ton, and you can see it in his face and the way he brings it up his body, like his legs to his body, that he's straining really hard. So anyway, off of the baby poop, you never realize how much you're going to talk about baby poops and baby farts and, all that good gross stuff until you have a baby, and you're so like you get so worried about that kind of stupid shit. Anyway, so on to the delivery story. So on January 6th, my water broke. It was I was I was due on the 14th, so I was pretty much completely through like the gestation period or whatever. Um, and when my water broke, weirdly enough, I did not have Andy until 5 a.m. on the 8th. So my water broke January 6th at around 5 a.m. And like we were sitting at, I remember we were just like kind of getting up in my house and we were just kind of getting ready for the day. And I went to go pee and whoosh, all of this liquid. And I was like, wow, that was quite a bit of liquid. And then all of a sudden when I stood up, more liquid. And I was like, holy crap, okay, something's going on. And so I went into the bedroom and I was like, Matt, I'm pretty sure my water broke. And right as I literally said broke, I mean a cup of water just pours out of me onto the floor. And I was just like, God damn it. I was trying to avoid that. I was so trying to avoid that. But yeah, so anyway, my water broke and I called the hospital and was like, hey, my water broke. What would you like me to do? And they're like, okay, well, we would like you to come in. Have you not had any contractions? I was like, well, no, I haven't had any pain really. So went to the hospital. And getting ready to go to the hospital, I spent about an hour and a half, 2 hours at home, just kind of figuring out, if I was going to get some contractions, if I should stay home for a bit, all that good stuff. And so while I started to feel, like funny little creeping back pain, and I was like, okay, this has got to be it. As we went to the hospital, they checked me and they found out I was like 1 centimeter dilated, and they were like, that's kind of odd. Either way, they were like, okay, well, clearly you're not ready yet. We're gonna send you home. Sent me home, and they were like, download a contraction app so you can, time your contractions. And by the time I got out of the hospital, I was starting to feel some cramping, some, weirdness. So go home again, and I'm just sitting there, and as time starts to go by, which, now that I think of it, it was probably a good 12 hours went by, and the contractions they were getting so slowly worse, like so slowly worse. And that, I think, was the worst part about my delivery story, was that it was like a slow burn. I was essentially like in slow labor for 2 days waiting to get dilated, and I don't even know what that's like, what that would be called, because I wasn't in labor. What was I in labor? I need to look up the definition of labor to see, because no, I wasn't pushing, but I was like slowly dilating. So I think about 12 hours went by. I think we slept the night at home, and then I woke up in the night, and I was in a pretty good amount of pain. I was like, wow, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm pretty scared. So I called the hospital and I said, my contractions are about, and I didn't know how to time them. I know I was doing them wrong now, but when I was timing them, I thought they were about 2 to 3 minutes apart. They were more like 10 minutes apart. But of course, I don't deal with pain that well, apparently. So I was trying to, while sleeping essentially, trying to, start the timer for the contractions. It wasn't working out that well for me. Anyway, so go back to the hospital, because they're like, yeah, you should probably come back and we'll check you up. I go back to the hospital, and at that point, I think I was about 4 centimeters dilated, and they're like, wow, this is gonna take a long time for you. Like, we're surprised at how long this is taking. And by that time, the pain had been like enough where I was like, okay, I was starting to freak out in my own head. Like what's happening? Why is this taking so long? How long am I going to be, in this much pain? yada, yada, yada. And I worked myself up enough where they were like, okay, well, we're probably going to send you home again. Yeah, I worked myself up enough that I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. They offered me some pain management. I did take the pain management before the epidural. Um, Everything was fine, no problems. I spent the next day and a half in labor, like laying in the hospital bed, waiting on my dilation. Finally, I think, was I like, do they do it at 9 centimeters or 10? I can't remember. I was a couple centimeters before they wanted me to start pushing, and wow, the pain was freaking unbearable. They tried to put a catheter in, and I have a super, super sensitive bladder. So when they tried to put the catheter in, it hurt so much that I was like, no, you must take that out. So they did end up taking it out, putting it back in, and taking it out when they thought that I had to pee because it was such a long period of time. Barely drank anything, didn't eat anything for essentially 3 days straight. Now let's fast forward through all of that. About, oh, I can't remember, I think it was maybe 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, something like that. Um, they were like, okay, Melissa, we're going to, well, it must have been even later than that. I think it was probably like 11 or 12 o'clock at night. Either way, the doctor came in and she was like, okay, Melissa, we're going to start pushing now. We're going to try some, we're going to try and teach you how to push here. So she's teaching me, and I didn't realize how much in the butt it actually is. Like, they tell you essentially, like, not even to push from your crotch area, that you push from your butt. Such a weird experience, such a weird thing to have to, like, explain to someone. But yeah, I spent about 3.5 hours trying to push him through my, you know, around my pelvic bone, and it got to the point where he actually had a couple of abrasions on the top of his head when he was born, because of how much I was, you know, trying to push him out, and him getting stuck on my pelvic bone because his head was huge. He is such a long baby too, like he is such a long baby. Um, he's a month old, and like we're talking long baby, which, you know, that just means he's going to be a tall boy. Um, so after about 3.5 hours of pushing, they were like, you know what, we got to call this. We have to call this. The doctor pretty much just, you know, said like, we could continue, but I just think it's not going to be good for Andy if we just continue, and, you know, I think you're probably going to need a C-section. So they prepped me for the C-section, and the crap thing about prepping me for the C-section was that they actually have to put the catheter back in for the C-section. And that was probably the worst part about all of it. It wasn't that I was going through contractions still, and it was extremely painful. Ooh, the epidural too. Nowhere near as crazy as I thought, but I don't know if it was the C-section or the epidural. My sciatic nerve is shot now in my right leg. I mean, absolutely shot. I'm getting like radiating pain up it all the time. I will go to stand up and just the pain will radiate down my leg. So if you have any options for that, I'm probably going to go back to the chiropractor as soon as I feel like healed up enough. But I kind of do feel like it may have been because of the C-section, because when I do get some of that radiating pain, wow, does it, like, it burns pretty good. So, like, on my scars. So it kind of makes me feel like, yeah, maybe I did get some nerve damage from, like, it's not damage because you have to cut through nerves. In a C-section, your body is full of nerves, so there is a small chance that something could happen. Because I had such bad sciatic nerve pain before I got pregnant and during my pregnancy, you know, it's just, of course, thoughts that, of course, you're going to have more sciatic nerve pain after it. because there's like so much pushing, and then, then you're getting your nerves cut into, your epidural, all that stuff all put together. And on top of that, like when they go to do the C-section, they freeze you again with the epidural. So you're getting a lot, from that. And the whole process, is a lot. It's a lot for your body to take in. So yeah. Anyway, um, epidurals, where was I? They go in to do the C-section, and oh yeah, I was talking about the, uh, oh my gosh, the bladder, what is it called? Oh my gosh, why am I blanking? Yeah, this is motherhood for you. Blanking on every freaking word that and I still can't think of it. I'm trying to rack my brain while I talk here. Um, but yeah, the thing they put in, the catheter. There you go. So, and he is sleeping like a rock. I was trying to get him to sleep, and look at this. Anyway, they put the catheter back in to bring me into surgery, and all the way, like it felt like hours. It was probably 10 minutes. All the way into surgery, it was just so freaking painful that I was just dying, and I was feeling contractions obviously on top of that. The contractions don't go away. They did end up giving me some sort of medication to really amp up my contractions to see if I would dilate. So I was still, getting them from that medication as well. Um, it was just a mess. I know Matt was just like, holy shit, what am I going to do for her? It was just crazy and a disaster for both of us. But yeah, so we go into surgery. You are awake when you have a C-section, but what actually ended up happening was that I had such a bad sinus infection that when they were lying me down on my back to do the cesarean, which you're completely lied down, my nose just blocked completely. And because I hadn't eaten for 2.5 days, barely drank anything, my body began to convulse. It went into like the shakes like you would never understand or believe. And for just a minute, after they, said they were sewing me up and everything, and, Matt was like, oh my gosh, they had Andy. He had to be like kind of persuaded into screaming. He was breathing fine, but they couldn't get him to talk, which is funny because he won't shut up now. But they could not get him to cry. So it took a bit, I think about maybe 5 minutes for them to do that. And through that, I was just thinking like, oh my God, could I die here? Like the shaking was so violent, and me not being able to breathe through my nose, I just had to breathe through my mouth. And, I could hear them talking, and they were like, do you want me to put Andy on your chest? I was like, oh my God, please, no, I will die. And just for a minute there, I had a flash that like, holy crap, what if I die right here? It scared me a little bit. But of course, we both came out super healthy and happy. I recovered majorly quickly. I was only in the hospital for about a day and a half after the surgery. Also, they're not rushing people out, but it's a really small unit, and they have other patients in kind of not with you, but like in the room next to you kind of thing. So it's just it's a tight time right now. It's a very small community where I live, and it's a very small hospital. I loved that about that though, and something that I will never ever forget. While they were wheeling me back into my room with Andy, and Andy was crying, and they were helping me breastfeed him for the first time, there was a lady in the room next to us who actually could hear us, I guess, and she wrote a note and literally gave us $100 and said, God bless you and your family. And then when the nurse came in, she was like, we don't normally do stuff like this, but she gave it to me, to give to you. And I was so touched by that. I thought that was one of the sweetest things that someone can do or could do for a brand new parent, that paid for his first thing of formula and all the parking that we had accumulated from the hospital. So, hey, thanks so much. That was awesome. Anyway, yeah, gosh. So after I had him, it was a slow burn. I seriously wish it on a real note that I had tried to quit smoking because I hadn't had a cigarette in like 50, 60 hours at that point. But of course, one of the nurses was holding Andy, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out for a cigarette. Wow, be careful. If you do smoke and you're going outside, obviously you're going outside, it's a hospital. Um, and it's winter, it's January here in Canada, so it's intense. Definitely watch yourself because that first cigarette, you are going to get a head rush of a lifetime, and God forbid that you fall right after a C-section surgery. So again, be really careful. Maybe take a walker or something. Maybe ask for a wheelchair. You know, it's the hospital. You can be a little bit demanding. It's okay. Yeah, so I, of course, broke the cigarette bond and um, still smoking. So, yeah, what else? I'm trying to think. Oh, sorry, I just kicked the camera. I'm trying to think of. Because of COVID, when Matt left to go home to get some rest, when he came back in, they actually denied him access. Neither of us are fully vaccinated at this point. I was pregnant for 9 months. I was breastfeeding. So, anyway, yeah, that is what it is. So, that was a little bit disheartening. I kind of felt like a single mom for a little bit until he came and picked me up. Because I had to sleep the night in the hospital on my own. Ooh, it was so scary. Um, but I did get to really, like, bond with Andy. Um, and especially because like I felt like we were both so weak, we were in such a weakened state. He's a brand new newborn, I just had a C-section. I felt like that time, the time that a lot of people say you really like don't bond with your child, I really bonded with him because we were alone for like a day and a half in a tiny little hospital room, and I had nothing else to do but stare at him. And the hospital was actually really well equipped. They had these brand new like bassinets that went like directly underneath your bed and had like a little thing that you could press down on, and it would just fold down, so like your baby is right there and you don't have to like move as much, because believe me, trying to use those ab muscles, holy mother, it's hard. But yeah, um that is the story. I am so just like, I can't freaking believe that is what this is what it is. I am so I'm I'm so proud of myself, honestly. That sounds kind of, I don't know, weirdly selfish a little bit, but damn, that was hard. That was hard. And trying to recover from this is going to be even harder. The first month was hopefully the hardest in like to do with pain. I don't think that it's over. My hormones still have a long way to go, and I have chronic anxiety, so I think that that may have surpassed my like getting any postpartum. Haven't had any postpartum yet. Um, I think that's something that women should just openly talk about. I don't think it should be something that like is hid. Mentally, mental illness is just something that we have and we haven't tried to open up about in society. But I definitely found that even in my family, not a lot of the women in my family wanted to talk about postpartum depression and the things that go on in your mind right after you give birth and are responsible for another human being. I think that needs to be something that's talked about more, because it's definitely, things do cross your mind, and no, like, you're not a bad parent for being tired. You're not a bad parent for being a little upset that your freedoms, like, it's been a month and a half and I just started to get things kind of more worked out. It takes time and patience, and you know, um, I feel for people that have a lot more going on in their life. I'm not working right this moment. I am going back to work in a month though. I said I was going to go back to work in April, and I was going to go back 2 days a week. So, you know, that's going to be a change too. Thankfully, Matt, I think, will still be home at that point. He's laid off right now. At first, I thought he would be working, and then, you know, some things changed, and he actually ended up, a couple jobs ended up falling through, which was a blessing in disguise. He got his EI, and we are doing fine. So, you know, and him being able to be with Andy while I'm at work is such a blessing, in my opinion. So, yeah, this is crazy. It's crazy to be a mom. And I think it's going to be even crazier when he's getting bigger and he's going to be able to say mom, like, wow. But yeah, we are doing soothers. Talk to me if you have anything to tell me about the constipation. That is really, really just bugging my heart. Seeing him struggle, it just breaks me so hard. So yeah, anyway, I love you guys so much, and I am going to go put this little guy to bed, and I'm actually going to hopefully film another video. I saw, oh my gosh, Lauren May, is that what her name is? I can't remember exactly. It's like, I think it's Lauren May Beauty. I saw her do she's doing singles week on her channel right now, and I saw her do a video on ranking her Super Shock shadows, and I actually was so inspired. Oh, I loved how, like, the way she did her swatches. There's no way I'm going to be able to film that exactly the way she did, but I'm going to try. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to film that video. I did last night actually go through all my Super Shock shadows, and I did rank them. I was hoping that going through them would help me get rid of a few more, and I think I actually am going to get rid of a few more, because there were a few that I was just like, why am I keeping this? But yeah, anyway guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching this video and subscribing to my channel. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a whole lot of other, like, mommy videos, unless there's something specific that you would like me to talk about. Let me know. But yeah, I love you guys so much, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, night, evening, whatever. Oh, and so does Andals. Isn't he adorable? He's so cute. Bye, guys.